Hi, welcome back to another episode of Unique Moments, where we take a moment to be, take a moment to breathe, connecting mind, body, and spirit. And in this episode, we are going to be talking about exercise. Trying to skip all of the already known things about exercise. We all know it's good for our health and why we should do the things and yada, yada, yada. But I'm trying to get into a deeper part of how exercise does so much for the body. So that's the body piece. But before we get into the episode, I pulled a card. The card that I pulled for this episode was Follow Your Heart from the Wandering Heart deck. And the explanation is an affirmation. Obviously, follow your heart. We all know what that means. But the author of the deck has a beautiful interpretation. It's really an affirmation. So I'm just going to read it in the card. Under the card, it says, wherever the wind blows, go there. And the affirmation says, when I think back to a time when I can truly say I was fearless, I always remember the feelings right before. Either I was tired of living a lie or I was tired of worrying about what others might have to say. Eventually, you make the decision to live out your own truth and embark on your own authentic journey. Or you choose to comfort others while they experience their own. Only you can decide which makes you feel the most complete. When I think back to the moments that I was daring, I remember the guilt rushing, fleeting from my body. The worries never disappeared, they just found their place, to each their own. I said, you are here for a reason. Now is the time to expand beyond the constructs of your own mind, reach higher, live how you want to, set beautiful goals for yourself. Remember, you are protected by a divine source. There is no right or wrong way to be. The moment you choose movement, spirit moves with you. Amen. The consequences of your actions will always show up. Choose what you'd like to be rewarded for. And that is a beautiful affirmation. There's a lot in there, but I think the gist of it is really, do what makes you happy. And I think the only hard part about that, or difficult part about that, because it seems very like, do what makes you happy, follow your heart, but I think the piece where she was saying, or choose to serve others, choose to follow their agenda. Because sometimes, aside from the people pleaser personality, it feels good to help others. It feels good to serve. It feels good to, not act out of just your own benefit and your own reward. It feels good to be selfless. But I think this card is actually pointing to the opposite of that and telling you to purposefully be selfish, because we only get one life, right? That's the way I look at it. We literally have this one life that we're living now. There's no restarts. There's no do-overs. Unless you believe in reincarnation, then that's a different story. And we're here for time immemorial. But in this life, on this plane, in this realm, I think it's just saying, do what makes you happy. Go where the wind blows. Where do you feel your spirit is calling you? Where do you feel your spirit is taking you? And that's not always easy, one, because we do have people in our lives that we want to please, that we want to make proud, that we want to show up for. But I think there just comes a time when you kind of have to be all about you, and you kind of have to be very selfish. And in the context of healing, I think that is a very selfless but selfish thing to do. It's selfish in the beginning because you have to reclaim your time, your energy, and where you're putting your attention, where you're putting your energy, setting up those boundaries for people so that they don't interrupt the healing environment that you've created for yourself. But then it becomes selfless, because once you heal and once everything is all in alignment and all your ducks are in a row, you are better for other people. You can be in service. You can show up in a new way, in your most authentic way, in your most healed way. And that is great for everyone involved. And so I think the card is really saying, what is on your heart to do? What is on your heart to be, to say, and just do that. And just do that. Easier said than done, maybe. We all have circumstances in our lives where maybe we can't act completely in our own will, and maybe we have other situations, other priorities, other people that we need to consider and think about, so it's not so easy. But I think it's necessary. Even though it's not easy, it's very necessary. At one point in time or another, maybe you're in your life where you are putting yourself first and doing exactly what you want and what your heart desires, and maybe you're not, and maybe you're working your way there, and all things are fine too. For a more personal interpretation of that message, please go visit the blog. Grace wrote a wonderful post, touchedbygrace.blog. The link will be in the description. And then to talk about exercise. So obviously it's good for your physical health. Obviously it's good for your mental health, improves your mood, endorphins, and all of the things, right? Aside from using exercise to lose weight or hit maybe a fitness goal that you have, moving the body is so important. So it's less about exercise and more just about movement. Again, we have one life, we have one body. Why not use it? Why not use it to the best of our ability in the best ways that we know how? And there's one form of exercise where it's like you are doing activities like weightlifting or cardio, running, swimming, even dancing, bike riding, whatever your thing is, whatever how you like to move your body, yoga, Pilates. All of these are different forms of exercise which can not only transform your body and transform your life, putting that stress on your body, improving your sleeping patterns, improving your mood, improving just your overall confidence. Because once you get into that rhythm, because I feel like there's kind of two groups of people, and obviously there's more, but I feel like you either exercise and you have a regimen, you have a routine, you know the importance of moving your body, you know the impact that it has on your health, or you kind of just don't and you leave it alone, never had a gym membership, never cared to see the inside of a gym or step foot on a track or go to the park, take a walk, run. And both are okay. You're at where you're at in life. But I think, especially as I get older, I just realize the importance of like moving your body. And for me, I spoke about this on the last episode. Walking definitely got me out of a depressive season that I was in. And I think when you move your body first instead of thinking about it so much, because why would you not want to work out? Why would you not want to exercise? Why would you not want to use your limbs and your energy that God gave you? It feels good. It feels good to expend energy. It feels good to lift weights and get stronger and build your confidence and build your stamina. Those things feel good. But the only reason why they wouldn't feel good is if somewhere in your mind you're not up for it, or somewhere you don't acknowledge the benefits, which there are many. So if it doesn't feel good to you, I feel like you don't exercise, but then you miss out on all the benefits. And I think there's something very gratifying about exercising, because if you really get down to it, it's like, if you're lucky, if you're blessed, you have all of your limbs, you have both hands, both feet, you have all of your body parts, which is a blessing in itself. And so I look at exercising as like, I get to do this thing. Some people are in a wheelchair. They can't go on a run. They can't just move the way they want to move. Their exercise looks different. Some people don't have arms. They can't just lift weights. They can't just go swimming. And so I think exercising, first and foremost, just is a gratitude practice. At least for me, it's a gratitude practice showing that I am thankful for my body. I am thankful. And it's a way to thank your body. Like you want to work out, you want to get stronger, you want to build muscle, you want to tone up, you want to lose weight, you want to show your body off, not in that way, but like I'm proud of my vessel and my temple. And when you really get into it, the body is a vessel. And so again, we only have one, so you should treat it right. And that is one form of treating it right, is to just work it out, exercise, get out there, sweat. Sweat is so good for your body. And then, but going back to the body being a vessel, so, and it's all connected, right? Mind, body, and spirit. But if we're working on the body piece, I think one of the reasons why it's so hard for people to exercise is, we could call it laziness, we could call it non-discipline, whatever word you want to call it, but it's simply that you haven't made that mind-body connection of, this is good for me and I want to do things that are good for me. I want to do things that are good for my body. Now, if you have other health conditions, asthma or other things that allow you not to work out, then obviously not talking to you. But it's a way to get the energy moving. It's a way to get the energy moving throughout the body. Like say you're stuck or you live a very sedentary lifestyle. Maybe you work from home, maybe you sit for most of your day. It's a good way to just get into the body and get out of the mind in our society, because of the way that things are built now. Everything is so driven with technology. Everything is so interconnected. I feel like we're using our minds and our brains 99% of the day, and our bodies are kind of on autopilot, which is essentially the body is always on autopilot. We don't have to think about breathing. We don't have to think about speaking. We don't have to think about how we write, how we are able to drive a car and produce all the mechanisms. The body is very smart and the body is very efficient. And so it does all of these actions automatically. And so I think exercise is tricky because that's one of those things where you kind of have to tell your body, okay, we're doing this. We are going to go to the gym. We are going to go for a run. We are going to go for a run. I am going to take a dance class. I am going to go to Pilates. And you kind of have to make that intention first before your body can follow. But then when you get disciplined and then when you really get into the groove of it, it kind of becomes an automated thing like the other things. So it's a good practice to cultivate, and a good self-esteem builder, a good confidence booster. I think there is gym culture, right? But there's also like, I think this stereotype or this idea that we have about people who are healthy, who are fit, who are in shape, who work out. And I don't think it's that they think that they're better than people who don't, but in a way, you kind of feel like you're superior. Like in a way, I don't agree with that. I don't think you are, but I think it just puts you in a different space. It puts you in a different mindset. It allows you to realize and recognize that you can do hard things. Maybe you go to the gym one day and you reach a new max on your weight, and it just boosts your self-confidence and boosts your self-esteem, because it's like, I did that, and really your body did that, but you are connected to your body, so it's one and the same. So it's good to kind of challenge yourself. And I think people who exercise, not superior, but I think they're more open to challenges and they're more open to pushing themselves, which I think everybody could use in life. Because once you have conquered whatever it is, for me is push-ups. I could barely do one push-up and now still can only really do 10. But we're working, we're growing, we're getting there. And that's a beautiful thing. It wonders for my confidence, and I can lift heavier now, and I can run farther now. My stamina has grown, and it's really amazing to see the progression when you work on your body in that way, when you exercise your body, to see it transform, to see it change, to see muscles grow where you didn't have muscles, to see clothes fit better that you wish would have always fit better, to really feel comfortable in your skin. At the end of the day, it's about being comfortable in the body that you have. And if you're not comfortable in the body that you have, change it. You have the ability to change it, whether that's cosmetically, whether that's physically, however you want to change it, you have that agency. And I think that's also does work for your self-confidence and self-esteem, and really your sense of self, to be able to have the autonomy, to be able to work out, to be able to lose weight, to be able to mold and shape your body how you want to, according to your exercise habits, according to your diet regimen, according to whatever supplements you take, or however you do it. It's a really powerful feeling to feel that you have agency over your body, which is beautiful. And the other type of exercises that I feel like we may not consider, or we may not think about, or we may automatically do on a daily basis, is different exercises for different parts of your body. So like your brain, right? As we grow older, I feel like if you're not learning, if you're not continuously learning, if you're not in school, not saying that your brain gets stagnant, but you know what you know until you grow, until you learn more, until you open up more. So I think there's different exercises for the brain that we can do to grow and develop and to heal. And there are technical ones, like, you know, you could do crossword puzzles, you could do regular puzzles, you could do play mind games, play trivia games, play just games that allow your brain to be exercised in your way of thinking, word association games, things that push you and push your brain to look for different solutions and grow in that way. So that's also very important in terms of not remaining stagnant and not just being in the same place. You can work out your brain, exercise your brain, solve problems, put yourself in a situation, in a problem every day to give yourself the opportunity to solve it and become that much smarter, become that much more equipped. And then also heart exercises, again, with the follow your heart card. I don't know that there's certain ones for certain people, but I think that there are little things that we can do to exercise our heart muscle, to exercise our compassion muscle, to exercise our empathetic muscles that we could do. And they're not going to feel good depending on where you are in your heart space. It might not feel good, but again, exercising doesn't feel good when you go to the gym. I almost never want to go to the gym. Like rarely am I like, wow, I'm so excited for this workout today. Like no, but I do it anyway because I know the benefits that it's going to bring. And so I think with the heart exercises, a few to do, there are certain meditations, mindfulness meditations. There are certain, what are they called? Certain, it's like a heart space meditation. Loving kindness. There are certain meditations. Loving kindness meditation is a big one where you sit and you visualize different people, right? Like you visualize yourself, you visualize a close friend, you visualize a family member, an acquaintance, and even an enemy, and you practice wishing them well, wishing them happiness, peace, kindness, love. And that is also an exercise for your brain, but also gets to your heart because you really have to mean it. And I think you can only fake it for so long. If you're in a loving kindness meditation, something just comes over you. As I did the loving kindness meditations, just practicing opening up your heart space. And I think it takes some conscious effort and it also takes a lot of willpower. But say forgiveness is one. But we all know forgive your enemies, love your enemies. But it's easier said than done. And I think forgiveness is a good heart exercise, but only when you mean it. Forgiveness is a great exercise to practice, even if you don't mean it, because it again changes your heart space. It changes the way you conceptualize things. To forgive something, especially something or someone that wronged you, that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of compassion. It takes a lot of love. And even if you don't mean it, I think setting the intention to forgive and say, I'm going to let this go. I'm not going to carry this with me into tomorrow. I'm going to forgive that person in my heart. That is a beautiful exercise for the heart to transform. And beyond forgiveness, just practicing opening your heart on the day to day where you want to be selfish, where you want to maybe not consider others. Challenge yourself to do that. If you have a coworker that you hate, challenge yourself to buy them coffee. Challenge yourself to start a conversation with them, even though that might be the last thing you want to do on earth. Do that heart exercise just to see how it feels. Just to see how it feels. And maybe it feels horrible and maybe you never need to do that again, and that's you and your business. But just trying, it gets you out of whatever stuck rhythm that you're in. And that's also what physical exercise does. It pulls you out of your normal day to day, and it allows you to promote a new feeling. It allows you to feel something new. And if you're doing it right, practicing forgiveness, practicing compassion, doing these little heart exercises, it heals you. It heals your heart space because it's really hard to hold two feelings at one time. So if you are intentionally practicing love and kindness and compassion, it's very hard to hold anger and frustration and sadness in that same space because we're only ever in the present moment, right? So one thing is happening at one given time. We like to think that we can multitask, but when you really think about it, you're doing a bunch of different things individually at one given time, all at the same time. So just try it. I think it's definitely worth trying out. And I think exercising has its benefits outside of the improving sleep, outside of the improving your mood, losing weight, promoting, reducing inflammation. Like those are all good health things. But I'm interested in how exercising our bodies, our minds, our hearts, how does that contribute to our healing? How does that contribute to the big picture? And I think movement is key. When you're in motion, you have the opportunity to be in flow. When you're in flow, you're not thinking so much. When you're in flow, you're in the present moment. You can connect and you can connect. And even it's the mind body connection that's important, because I've had days where I was at the gym and I'm not present and I'm not there. Does that mean that my body is not getting an efficient workout? Not necessarily, but it's not getting as an efficient of a workout as it could be if I was focused, if I was present on what I'm doing, if I was paying attention to the weight that I'm lifting, if I'm paying attention to my breath and my breathing and how I'm feeling during the course of this workout versus thinking about what happened yesterday or what am I going to do today or planning my day. Exercise also gives you an opportunity to bring that mindfulness back, to bring that presence back, because you're focused on what you're doing. And that facilitates healing. That facilitates healing on a physical level, on a cellular level, on a deeper level than not exercising. I can say that. Than not exercising, because I've seen tremendous differences in when I wasn't really exercising, or I didn't really have an exercise routine or regimen, and now. And it's like, it's kind of fun to build it in your day. Like, okay, how am I going to challenge myself? How am I going to push myself today? How am I going to exercise my heart today? What am I going to do as a heart opener? How am I going to be better than I was yesterday? And ultimately heal, because that's what it's about, right? We're healing ourselves. We're healing our minds. We're healing our bodies. We're healing our spirits. And you can't have healing without movement in any capacity. And that's why exercise is so important. And I encourage everyone to exercise in whatever way that you see fit, whatever way speaks to you, whatever way speaks to your heart, and how you should do that. But I think exercising is too important to not be a part of our daily lifestyle, especially living in America, especially where all the food is processed and all of the media is processed and all of the air is polluted, and we just have so many toxins. We have so many toxins surrounding us at all times. And again, exercising, sweating, turning your brain off, practicing mindfulness, opening up your heart is necessary, is so necessary in the world and space and time that we live in right now, because you could really get lost. You could really get lost in the media. You could really get lost in the what's real and what's fake and what matters and what doesn't. And I think when you're exercising, whether you're exercising your body physically, whether you're exercising your mind, whether you're exercising spiritually, in whatever you do spirituality wise or faith wise, where you're exercising your faith, you're testing your faith, you're communing with God, all of that is so necessary to come back to yourself. It's so necessary to be centered with yourself, to be in alignment with yourself, or else you're just going through the motions on autopilot. And you can get along like that for a while. You can. Some people do it their whole lives. It's not impossible. But it goes back to, how are you going to become the best you? How are you going to become the best version of you? And I don't know, but I don't think you get there without exercising something, some way, even if it's walks, even if all you do is go for a 10-minute walk per day. There's something special in that. There's something necessary in that changes how you operate in your day-to-day life. So that's what I have to say about exercise. And until next time.